Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kamal Prasad, and I'm the partner leading the technology advisory at BDO. And on behalf of the firm, I would like to welcome you all to the second webinar of the IT cost optimization series that we have been running. And today's focus is going to be predominantly on the use of digital tools to improve operational effectiveness and cost reduction. Before I get into the details of the presentations, just some housekeeping. So I would encourage you to ask questions along the way. So you would have a questions pane in your webinar window. So if there are questions along the way, just put it on to the chat window, and we'll take as many questions as possible during the session. If not, we'll come back and respond to those questions later on. If there are technical difficulties along the way, there is a link, so you can go into the access support icon and request for technical difficulties, and we have got the BDO team on standby to help along the way. After the session, we will be sharing the presentation. So the presentation that I'm going to be using now will be shared via an email, plus a link to the recorded session will be available. So if you are able to not attend the whole series, you should be able to continue on the recorded session. Likewise, feel free to share it with other people in your organization you feel who would benefit from that. And in the link that would be provided, you would have access to our previous webinar presentations also, and the contact details where you can get in touch with us. So with those housekeeping rules, we'll get into the details of today's session. Now, like I said, we have been running this whole IT cost optimization webinar series. In the webinar that we did last time, we focused predominantly on the low-hanging fruits, service level and infrastructure optimization, and vendor management. In today's session, which is the second of the series, we will be focusing on the digital capabilities available in the market to deliver operational effectiveness and cost reduction. There is one more webinar that has been planned for next month, and that's going to focus predominantly on portfolio management, program management, and transparent IT. So I would encourage you to attend those the next webinar also, so that we can complete the whole series and cover different aspects that deliver cost optimization in these webinars. So for those who may have missed out on the previous webinar, just a quick recap for those. So the first thing that we wanted to highlight, and that's going to be the common theme across all webinars. The first one is around why invest in optimizing IT costs. So I think that's the question that keeps coming to us from our clients in terms of why should we do this. And the learnings that we have working with our clients in these areas has been IT cost optimization. The first thing is it gives you more value out of your IT investment. So we are not saying that the IT costs are going IT investment will go down or the cost is going to go down. It's around cost and value put together. So you might have the same cost, but the value that you get deliver from your investments in investment in IT and systems and services, that will go up. The second one is around freeing up resources to invest in more value-adding activity. So this gets back to, even if you're not increasing the cost or not directly impacting the cost equation, it is around, are your resources working on activities that are adding more value to your organization? Then IT cost optimization brings the prudence, the transparency, and increase the confidence in IT. And especially in a scenario where costs are becoming quite relevant because of COVID and because of some of the market dynamics that we are seeing both on the supply and demand side. I think having optimizing your IT costs just brings that transparency, gives the broader business the confidence that the dollar is being spent in the right area. Then the whole IT cost optimization also gives control and shows leadership. And we will cover a few topics in terms of how cost optimization, looking at line by line expenditure management, gives a better sense of where the dollars are going. And also it gives a feel of what are the type of things that the IT can lead within the organization and show leadership. Then the next one is around risk and compliance. This is a broad-ranging topic, all the way from information security risk to cyber risk to making sure that your data is actually being stored in a way that minimizes some of those risks and the compliance requirements. And then the last one is around increasing the ownership of business in helping optimize IT. So there are a number of reasons why we feel that optimizing IT costs is critical, and you would have experiences along on those in your organization also. Now, the second part that we have been focusing on in the last webinar was around having a structured approach towards IT cost management. Now, COVID and some of the challenges that you might be facing in your organization could be giving you a one-off opportunity to have a look at what your IT spend is and try and optimize that. But we are strongly encouraging all our clients to use that opportunity not only as a one-off IT cost optimization, but also establish it as a practice, make it an ongoing discipline. Because the structured approach not only gives one-off value, but it also makes sure that all the tactical and the strategic initiatives that you are planning or you're about to invest in, they are delivering the best value that you can get out of the dollars that you're spending. Now, we did talk about the value equation, and in some cases, to get more value, you would have to invest. So you might have to invest to save money, and a big part of what we are going to be talking about today is around targeted investments, which could save money in the mid to long term. Now, we want to give the confidence to everyone who's on the webinar that there are cost savings. So this is not a theoretical exercise. We have case studies after case studies where structured IT cost management has delivered tangible savings to the organization. And then the last one is around sorry, go back one. The last one is around the IT cost optimization approach. It will help maintain focus, because if it's a one-off thing, it becomes quite narrow in its focus around releasing immediate dollars. But if you keep it as an ongoing approach, then it ensures that the right focus is on IT costs, and it doesn't become a one-off, but it's a regular, it's an ongoing discipline. So with that, we'll get into what the topic for today was, which is around what are the digital capabilities that are coming in the market, which can deliver that operational efficiency and cost. Now, before we get into digital capabilities and making the most of it, one thing that we want to give the confidence to everyone is that there are tangible benefits. So if you look at some of the market research that's coming out, cost optimization is the primary reason why enterprises are actually migrating to cloud. So digital capabilities which are cloud enabled, that's one of the primary drivers of cloud adoption. The second point is a lot more important, which is around, if you look at the average saving from cloud migration, leveraging some of the digital capabilities that are coming in, is around 15% of overall IT spend. So IT cost optimization, looking at an ongoing structured program, looking at tactical and strategic initiatives which are cloud-based, is delivering tangible value for the organization. So the average is around 15%, but there are a lot of organizations that are a lot higher, and some organizations that are still on the journey. Now, one is the cost, and the second part is the operational efficiency side of it, which is where the insights tell us that 42% of the businesses feel that providing access from anywhere is the key part of cloud migration, and that access leads to operational efficiency also. Now, there is a trend towards cloud adoption, but how the businesses are taking that cloud adoption is slightly different. So 38% of the businesses are on public cloud, 41% is on private cloud. Now, this is a global statistic, so the ratios might change based on geographies, might change based on your industry, but it just shows that there is the cloud adoption across the board. The mix between public and private is changing. The last one is again even more interesting, which says that around 94% of the workload will be in the cloud data centers. So that shows that the trend towards cloud is increasing. So there are overall benefits that are coming in. The trend is pointing in the direction where digital adoption is delivering cost, and digital adoption is becoming more and more important. And hence we thought we'll cover it as a part of the overall IT cost reduction theme, and share some of the ideas that we are seeing in our clients with you. Now, when we talk about digital, we talk about cloud. It is a big area. So to break it down, we'll be using a framework which takes the customer's journey, it's a generic customer journey, but you could have parts of it relevant for your organization also. So it starts with creating awareness. So every business, whether we are not-for-profit or we are a for-profit organization, we always start from creating awareness as to who we are. And that's where online ads, blogs, new releases, social media, all of those capabilities, they come in creating that awareness for you. Once the awareness has been created, it gets down to getting your clients or customers to choose what your services are. And that's where it gets down to facilitating the consideration for your services. Now, it could be a landing page, it could be an app, or it could be an e-commerce site or a sign-up page, product page, etc. But all of that leads towards converting that awareness into facilitating the consideration for your products or services. Once the customers have gone through the consideration part of it, that's where they are ready to sign up for you, and that's where acquiring of customers comes into the picture. So it's around engagement, interaction, experience, and personalization. So those are some of the themes that are underpinning the acquired customer phase. Then once you've acquired the customer, it gets into providing the services. It's around the concept of I'm being serviced, and that's where email, chats, features around products, and optimizing some of that interaction with the customer becomes critical. And then the last one, which is equally important in today's digital age, is around building loyalty. And that loyalty could come in through regular emails, in-app messages, or SMS interaction, and it could take various different forms. So what we'll do is we'll take the whole of customer journey, all the way from creating awareness and building loyalty, and look at what are the capabilities digital capabilities that are coming in the market to underpin that customer journey. Now, along with that customer journey, there are a lot of back-end activities that needs to be managed, and they include managing the finance, managing people, which is the HR part of it, managing IT itself, and managing the risk associated with IT and across the board. So we'll cover as to what are the capabilities that are coming for each one of those areas, which may not be customer facing, but they are helping organizations manage the business in the background. When we talk about digital capabilities, it's always easy to get focused around what's on the top layer, which is around all the different applications that are coming in the market. But as a part of today's discussion, we'll focus not only on what are the new capabilities that are coming for managing the customer journey and the core processes that we had on the previous page, but also what are the underlying infrastructure or the middleware layers that you need to have in place so that those applications, they are not standalone, they are a part of the overall enablement within your organization. So we will cover each of those layers around what's happening in the application layer, what's happening on the middleware layer, and then what's happening on the infrastructure side of it. So we will cover two parts, the whole of customer journey, along with all the supporting capabilities, and then for each one of them we'll get into the next level, which is around the application, middleware, and infrastructure. So if you look at the customer journey part of it itself, now that's where a lot of the digital capabilities are opening up new markets for our clients. They are creating more awareness for the clients, and that's where a lot of the focus of digital has been. So if I look at just the first part around creating awareness, that's where social media listening, social media management tools, and having mechanisms to simplify and keep the brand identity consistent across multiple channels, those type of capabilities are becoming more and more important. So a lot of our clients have gone into Sprout Social, Hootsuite, where they are looking at those capabilities to manage the message that they are passing through the social media network and creating an awareness for their products and services in a structured way. Then it gets down to the next part, which is around the consideration, facilitating consideration. And in here, having a mobile-friendly website where the moment they see a message on their Facebook feed, they click on that, and it takes them to a mobile-friendly website, which is context-specific. It gives them the information that has brought them into your website. All of those things become quite critical. So mobile-friendly websites, messages matched to landing pages, where it's not the generic thing that comes when you click on that link. It becomes a lot more targeted to what link is bringing them onto your page. That type of interaction improves the facilitation of your products and services. Then underpinning that is around mobile and web analytics, where it's not only looking at what how the customers are landing on your page, but also what sections of your website they are finding it interesting, or what are the type of things that they are actually spending more time on. Now, having an understanding of some of those that interaction when they are considering your products or services becomes quite critical to refine the pages, make sure that they are actually targeted towards conversion and giving the right information in the first instance. Related to that is around A/B testing, where it's not only around going with one concept, but also having a parallel concept that you're testing in a controlled environment, so that your messages on your website are becoming more and more relevant to why people are coming in and looking into the information on your website. So a number of capabilities that are coming out in the market. Google Analytics, a lot of our clients have been leveraging, but there are newer capabilities like Moz and Unbounce and Validately, all of those capabilities, cloud-based digital capabilities, are helping define what your first interaction the customers might have with your organization, and making sure that they are actually as seamless and as targeted as possible. Then from there, it gets into acquiring the customers. So this is where mobile-friendly sign-up pages, where you do the authentication through Google services, or you do the authentication through Apple or through Microsoft platforms. But having those mobile-friendly pages with a single-click authentication, those type of capabilities help customers move from the facilitation into signing up for your services fairly quickly. Then it gets down to 24/7. Now, a lot of the website traffic happens after 9 p.m., which is where people are looking at as to what are the type of services that they have. They have done the work for the day. They are relaxed. They are trying to explore what's available in the market, what they need to consider if they have got a need in their mind. And that's where having 24/7 self-service is really helpful. Now, along with the self-service, it gets to chatbots, where if at that time when they are going through a self-service mechanism, they have a question, is it possible for an artificial intelligence enabled chatbot that can actually make the answers more relevant to the questions that the customers might be asking. So 24/7 self-service, along with chatbots, mobile-friendly pages, and authentication, they all help convert from facilitation to acquiring of the customers quickly. And then the last one is it's not only around the signing up for your products or services if you are into that e-commerce world, but also making sure that the communication and the interaction that you are having is consistent with your brand and across what you're doing on social media, what you're doing on your websites, and how you are getting them to sign up for your services. Now, that's where it's a combination of capabilities that are becoming more and more relevant. So the first one is around the chatbots and having that AI-enabled Q&A type of capabilities that are becoming critical in there, but also underpinning those capabilities is a more end-to-end, more holistic CRM capabilities, which helps create that first record of the customer, and then enables that whole interaction of consistent interaction throughout the journey. So it gets from acquiring the customers, looking at those chatbot live person type of capabilities, combined with the cloud-based CRM. That becomes the sort of the backbone for providing the services also, where it's around document management, collaborative editing, electronic documentation upload and signing, digital verification. Those capabilities become absolutely critical looking into how you're providing those services. So it's no longer couriering, putting the document in post, but it's around sending the documents electronically, accepting the electronic signatures, verifying the identity in a digital way, so that you can make those interactions with the customer while you're providing the service as seamless as possible. Now, one is having those capabilities from a technical point of view, but I think the other positive side of it is that it opens up a bigger market. So you're no longer depending on the face-to-face interactions, or you're depending upon all the paper documents floating around. You can actually expand your geographical region where you are providing the services, expand the customer reach by having those provision of services through electronic mechanisms. From providing the services, it gets into building the loyalty, and that's where a rule-based engagement process. It's not only around what service they've received, the feedback on that service, but also anticipating as to what's the next service that they would require. And that's where intelligence around what are the typical trends, what are the typical customer journeys, understanding that, and then linking it back into some of the rule-based capabilities to keep that engagement going is absolutely critical. And then it's not only around engaging with the customers, but it's also helping create that word of mouth traction around helping the existing customers create a bit of a branding and a messaging for you. And that's around engagement on purpose for what you stand, social impact that you are creating, or just helping that expand that whole connection with the customer. That's where Wix forums, Yonex, those type of capability is coming in, is becoming more critical. Now, all the way from acquiring the customers to providing the services and building loyalty, I think the underlying platform around digital customer management or an end-to-end CRM is becoming the backbone of managing that single view of the customer. So a lot of the capabilities are coming in this area, but we just wanted to make sure that we expose you to some of those things that are happening in the marketplace. Now, by no means these logos that you have at the bottom of that screen are exhaustive. There are a lot more players in the market, but this is not a recommendation. This is not exhaustive. We just wanted to make sure that we can get the theme across in terms of what are the capabilities that are underpinning the customer journey and what the market is offering. Once, if you are planning to go down that path, you will have to do your own assessment to see which capability is going to be best fit for you. Now, we touched upon as a part of the framework, it's not only looking at the customer-facing activities, but also looking into the back end of the processes and making sure that they are humming and they are helping you deliver what you're promising to your customers. So the first one is around managing the finance. Now, this is a capability which is the most matured in across everything that we have talked about. So the finance has been the backbone of all the ERPs that are in the market. So you talk about SAP, Oracle, NetSuite, MYOB, Sage. They are all have got big, strong heritage in managing the finance part of it. So that's where it starts, but more and more it gets into managing of HR. That's where Workday, Oracle, or Deputy type of capabilities, they come into the picture. So looking at HR and finance in an integrated manner, and it's becoming an increasing trend, and a lot of the players across finance and HR are blending into more end-to-end capabilities. Then when it gets to the managing IT part of it, this is where the business IT around emails, calendars, video conference capabilities, etc., they are becoming critical. With that, it's also around bringing, having mobile devices, bringing an own device, and then the management of those mobiles and BYO devices is critical in that managed IT part of it. And then linked to that is the security through VPN. Now, again, that is a box that has got so many more capabilities that are coming into the market. So we have put Microsoft G Suite, CyberGhost as some of them, but the market is very mature and very rich in that area. The last one, it's around IT risk. So this is around access management, security, and data security, endpoint security, cyber. Those capabilities are increasingly becoming absolutely critical, especially what's happening in the marketplace in terms of cyber security threats going up. So again, mature market, very different capabilities from different players, but again, a lot of those things are now becoming more and more available on the cloud in terms of a different model of how you can adopt and expand on those. Underpinning all of those, there are a few themes around analytics and automation, which are again increasingly delivering cost reduction and operational efficiency. So The first two are around analytics, Microsoft Tableau, Microsoft Power BI and Tableau. They are providing that capability to leverage the data that you have got, create insights, link it to the decision, and that's where they are playing a big role. The next two that you have in UiPath and Blue Prism, now that's where the automation is coming in. If you look at most of the organizations, they've got hybrid environments where they've got multiple systems in place. There are some systems which are on their data centers and in some on the cloud, and connecting all of them together in a more seamless way and creating that synchronized processes across multiple systems. That's where capabilities of automation capabilities are playing a big role. So UiPath, Blue Prism, those are some of the market offerings that are rich and are being explored by our clients. So digital is definitely transforming the back office. So along with the customer transformation, the back office transformation is becoming increasingly critical to deliver that 15% reduction in cost that we discussed on a couple of slides back. Now this page and the next one will not appeal to a lot of people because these are capabilities which are hidden deep in the technology world. Nevertheless, they are critical to create that seamless process and deliver that operational efficiencies. Now, when we talk about middleware, there are a number of things that can drop into that area, but the key ones are what database technology that you have, what application servers you're leveraging to host all of these different applications, what web servers that you have for your web interaction, and then the directory services around who can access, what authentication they go through, etc. Now, this is a market which has been evolving at a very rapid pace, especially with the coming in of AWS, MuleSoft, now Red Hat being with IBM. So the market has consolidated and bringing in new technologies. TIBCO, Heroku, these are again some of the capabilities that a lot of our clients are leveraging to create that interface between all the different applications so that they can run more seamlessly from a user and from a customer point of view. The next in there is around the infrastructure piece, which is where it gets down to the hardware where all of these things are sitting, with the virtualization, the storage, and the network that you're using. We touched upon each one of them at great detail in our previous webcast. So if you want to have more details on each one of them, we'll share the link to our previous webcast or webinar also. So have a look at those areas. But from a capability point of view, again, the big players in there are DigitalOcean, Rackspace. They are the newer ones, but Google, AWS, Microsoft, and IBM has been playing a big role in that space for a very long time. So again, there are a number of capabilities that are coming into the market. They are predominantly the cloud-based capabilities, and the big reason that we wanted to sort of expose some of them in here was around their ability to deliver the cost reduction as well as the operational efficiencies, which has been a theme of our presentation. Now, I've covered a number of topics in the last 35 minutes, so I'll pause here and see if there are any questions that we need to cover. All right, we don't have any questions, but there is going to be a form after this webinar. So if there are any questions, do log those questions in, and we'll come back to you. Okay. So we We covered a part of this topic in when we were starting the session in terms of why should we go towards cloud-based digital capabilities, and the big part that we covered was around the cost optimization, which is the 15% of IT spend reduction that the clients are seeing at the back of cloud-based digital capabilities. The other areas which are equally important, and we should keep them on our radar in terms of how we can create a business case, is around operational efficiency. So ability to create new products or services or increase the reach. Now that's a part of it that a lot of our clients are finding it increasingly more comfortable and more capable in terms of IT capabilities to configure new products or get new services out and take them to the market as quickly as possible. Then the reach part, where we touched upon it, which is around not only looking at not being confined by the geographical constraints that some of the traditional models would have put in place. It could be going outside of your geographical region, or even exploring global capabilities or global markets at the back of some of those digital capabilities. So ability to quickly introduce new products or services, increase the share or increase the market, that's a big part of the business case underpinning the digital capabilities. Process automation, this is becoming an increasingly important area, where instead of trying to have siloed processes, a lot of our clients are looking at the horizontal view of what the interaction is and making sure that each interaction has been made as streamlined as possible. So that's where the UiPath Blue Prism type of automation capabilities that's coming in. Apart from, besides the sort of the technical capabilities, the process automation helps in reducing lead time, reducing the response time to the customer, and it just makes the process more seamless. All of that which goes into delivering the operational efficiency side of it. Accessibility and mobility, it's a big part of the cloud-based capability adoption, where we are no longer required to be working from the office network, but with the working from home and with the flexibility and the experience that we have had, working from anywhere, anytime, that's creating a big push towards adopting those digital capabilities. The last one is around simplicity, and most of these applications have been designed with a fast adoption in mind, and that's where simplicity and the minimal training comes into the picture. So traditionally, when a lot of effort was going into explaining each and every screen, now those capabilities are becoming more simpler, more intuitive, and that's not only leading to better adoption, but also to better customer experience and the user experience. So big focus around operational efficiencies along with the cost optimization that some of these capabilities are delivering. Then it gets down to the competitive edge also, where if you're able to bring in products or services faster than what your competitors can do, you can innovate more quickly, take those innovations to market more quickly. It gives that competitive edge. Security and scalability. We've seen a number of our clients where they had to scale up their networks and their video conferencing capabilities quite significantly at the back of COVID-19, but some of that scalability could not have been achieved if it was not the cloud. So again, that's an example where if your organization is on a growth path, or your organization is looking into going into new markets, scalability and the flexibility it gives organizations to scale quickly from a technical capability point of view, that's driving a lot of the cloud adoption. Security, this is becoming it's another key feature where a lot of these cloud-based capabilities are bringing in industrial grade security protocols and implementing them on their data centers, which gives especially the organizations with limited IT spend a lot bigger value, a lot bigger peace of mind from a security point of view. Maintenance and upgrade, again, that has been the cost that each and every IT organization has been building into their budgets all the time. With the cloud-based digital capabilities, that is an ongoing process. It's not a projectized upgrade, which is probably as infrequent as it could be made, but it is becoming more and more on the go. With that upgrade and maintenance capabilities comes new functionalities which are available at all times. The last one is around disaster recovery, which is where if you look at what's happening in the market, and if there is an instance where you have to actually bring some of your capabilities or the IT systems back online. Having them on the cloud gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of how quickly and how easily you can recover from some of the disasters or the challenges that might come your way. So while we started this whole discussion around IT cost optimization, the message that I wanted to share with everyone is that the digital capabilities that are coming into the market, they are delivering not only the cost optimization, but they are also big on operational efficiency and the other benefits that we discussed. So with that, the question that comes naturally is around, with so many capabilities in the market, how do we decide? What are the things that we need to keep on top of mind when we are looking at deciding on how to adopt or what to adopt from what the market is offering? So the first one goes without saying, which is around considering your current and future needs. That's a no-brainer. It is around what we want to get, what your organization needs now, and what it's going to look like in 12, 24, 36 months time. And having that view of current and future is critical to looking at what capabilities to adopt. But underpinning that is also take the whole of architecture view. It's very easy to say, okay, I want to have my customer interaction capabilities up to scratch, or I want to have my website web capabilities to the next level. Our recommendation has always been take the whole architecture view, because there are bits and pieces and the components that connect to each other, and all of that needs to be taken together when you're looking at what capabilities to bring in. But along with that, we also suggest our client that deploy selectively. So don't go big bang. The risk associated with those type of engagements and adoption is very high. So while you take the whole of architecture view when deciding as to what capabilities to bring in, but when you are implementing or deploying them, do it selectively and progressively. Avoid duplication, because that's there are so many instances that we have seen that the customers or the clients have got one capability, and then some other department has gone and bought similar capabilities from a different vendor. So having that whole of architecture view, looking at a more structured way on deciding as to what digital capabilities to bring in, they help avoid duplication, and duplication always leads to higher costs. So if you can avoid the duplication, you will keep the cost down. The next one is around integration. So it's very easy to look at each one of those areas in terms of what is the best system for finance, or what's the best system for HR. But if they don't talk to each other, or they cannot be supported through a third-party integration, it creates siloed processes. It breaks that seamless end-to-end view of how the users are going to be working through those systems. So always look into what integration capabilities that platform is bringing, or what are the third-party integration activities that you can bring in, so that you can create a seamless view of those processes. Having said all of that, I think the big call out that I wanted to share is don't compromise on security. That's something which creates a lot of reputational and a lot of financial risk in the organization. So irrespective of how you look at cloud adoption, never compromise on the security aspects of it. The second one is don't launch it in isolation. While it could be a digital capability where it can be managed by the IT teams, but our strong recommendation has always been don't launch it in isolation. Always keep it along with the business, communicate and engage their stakeholders. End of the day, the process ownership will be with the business. So the more collaboration it can have with the business as you're going through the digital capability deliberation, I think the better it's going to be adopted and the chances of success. The next on the list is just don't focus on dollars alone, because it is about making sure that you have got the right capabilities and there is a value equation that is getting enhanced, not the dollar equation. So always focus on what the end-to-end value that the digital capability can enable for you, be it in terms of reducing the dollars, converting them from capex to opex, or making the teams more efficient, or giving you the reach more broadly. So focus on the end-to-end and not just the dollar part of it. Then the next one is around creating that technology debt for saving dollars, where it gets down to you might be able to save $1 here or $1 there when you're looking at some of these digital capabilities, but in the long run, it would create more need for investment. So look at that end-to-end view, looking at both the current and the future requirements, focusing on the value equation, and that will help you minimize the technology debt just for the sake of short-term dollar benefits. And then the last one is, it goes without saying, consult. The market is quite big. The capabilities are evolving all the time. So it's best to actually look at what your needs are, and then go and scan the market, talk to people, consult as broadly as possible, because that's going to help you get the best outcome. So from a benefit point of view and how to go about adopting some of those digital capabilities, we did touch upon a number of different themes. So again, I'll pause for a few seconds and see if there are any questions that you might have. If there are no questions, I'll go on to the next one, which is the last last page that we wanted to cover in this webinar. Now, a lot of the concepts that we covered in this webinar, we wanted to bring them all together in a form of a case study that we work with our client to take them through that same journey. So now this is a large electricity distributor in South Australia. When they were considering as to what's the best way for them to look at workforce safety, security, and optimize cost, that's where they went through a structured approach in looking at as to what are the things that needs to come together to deliver the outcome that they were looking at. This is where the BDO team got involved. The team looked at not only the technical side of it, but it started from what are your goals that you're trying to achieve, what are the big cost drivers that needs to be managed to deliver that workforce safety, security, and the cost that optimization that you're looking at. And then from there, it started looking at as to what are the different options that are available to them. So again, this goes back to the concept of not only looking at as to what your current needs are, but looking at as to what your overall goals are, and then trying to unpack that in terms of what is going to deliver both the operational as well as for the cost objectives that you're looking at. So that was the approach that we had to take with the client, but with that came a number of levers that came out as a part of that discussion. So cloud was a part of it, which we did touch upon as a part of the discussion on the capabilities that are coming, digital capabilities that are coming to the market. But it also got down into what type of teams that you need to have to support the end goal that you're looking at. So cloud can bring you the capability, but you also have to look at internal teams, the capabilities, that the enhancements or the augmentation that you need to look at, so that you can use that cloud capabilities to the maximum potential. When you start looking at capabilities, it's around not only looking at capabilities that you need to have in-house, but also what are the type of capabilities that you can get from outside. So what you need to keep in-house or what you need to outsource. Again, that conversation became absolutely critical when going through this process. Once you looked at the sort of the big capability in the market and the operating model that you need to support it, then it gets down to all the other elements around contracts that you need to have in place, demand and response SLAs that you need to manage, the projects that you're running, investments and the services that you need to have to actually enable all of those investments. So we touched upon the digital capabilities or what the market is offering, but we wanted to highlight the fact that none of these things are in isolation. The moment you start going down that path, a number of different options, they start coming for organizations to explore. So whenever you're looking at those digital capabilities, engaging with the business, looking at it more broadly, will help bring the best outcome, best of the capabilities within the organization, and deliver the outcome in the most seamless manner. So that's what we did with the client, and then the overall recommendations were around looking at what capabilities are critical and what are not non-critical, and looking at their readiness to migrate to the cloud. Having a very structured roadmap and underpinning that with the business case in terms of what are the quick wins that needs to get delivered now, what are the next steps that we need to take, and how that application will be brought in and the adoption will be encouraged. So having that end vision, building the structured roadmap, underpinning that business case became critical for this client, and I think that's more broadly critical for most of these cloud migration or the digital capability adoption that we have seen with our client. And then the last one was around not only looking at what you need to do for workforce safety and security, but also looking at it at a more holistic level. What's the end-to-end architecture that you need to put in place? How the different components are going to come together, talk to each other, and help you deliver on that end the architecture or the capabilities of the future. So while the question could be very simple to start with, having a broader view, looking at what IT capabilities along with the business capabilities that you need to have, and creating a holistic roadmap, that is what delivers value. And we encourage all of our clients to actually take that journey that was quite powerful for this particular client. Now, end of the day, while the cloud strategy is a part of it, it actually becomes organizational wide, and it has an impact on people, it has an impact on process, and definitely on the technology. And all of those things put together, they start to deliver the operational efficiency and the cost reduction that we have been talking throughout this presentation. So I just wanted to sort of close with that case study to emphasize on the point that the market is becoming very, very mature in the capability that is coming in. There are a lot of choices, so taking a top-down view, keeping it holistic, always helps get the right outcome in terms of what capabilities you need to adopt and how you need to adopt it, and then underpinning that with a good business case, structured roadmap. Those are some of the things that we need to consider as we are going down this path. So I'll pause here again and see if there are any questions that we need to take. Excellent. So if there are no questions, I will close the webinar. So thanks a lot for attending the session. There is going to be a short survey. So if you can take the next 4 minutes to help us with the survey, that's going to be immensely useful for us. And with that, I thank you for attending this, and I hope I'll be able to see you again in a month's time when we cover the third part of this webinar series. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.